What the fuck is going on?
Sorry, my mic was messed up. Tonight, as you guys have seen by the title, we are going to be interviewing Shaba from Trickle. Now, this is going to be an interesting interview. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of what has happened just today. It's been a little wild. So already today, I posted a video. Earlier today siding with Justin and Valor on the whole instance war thing. And some of you guys agreed with me. Some of you guys agreed with Shaba and said that they were right. Everyone can have their own opinion. And since then, here's what has happened. Shaba has reached out to me, and I've never talked to Shaba before today. But essentially, he reached out to me, and he just said, hey, I think your video was a little biased. I appreciated your points, but I think it was a little biased. And after watching it, that's fair. I think it was pretty clear that I leaned more towards Justin and Valor. I think that was pretty fair. I want to turn the light down a little bit. But I think that was pretty fair to say that I leaned more towards Valor's way. I saw things the same way they did. Since then, and since I told Shaba, I said, hey, if you want to kind of voice your side of things, if you want to answer some questions, I would love to have you on my stream. And we'll talk it through. I'll hear your side of the story, and you can share it. So after I announced that I would be doing that, I immediately got muted in Valor's chat and flamed, which is normal. I don't really care. But I did get muted because Justin was not happy that I was going to have Shaba on and interview him, which is fair. He could do whatever he wants. It's his group. But I just wanted to tell you guys what had happened leading up to now. So here in just a second, I'm going to get Shaba on Discord. I'm going to get him in a call, and I'm going to ask him a few questions. I'm going to let him kind of tell his side of things, how he sees it. And then also, I'm going to let you guys ask questions. If you guys have any questions, you can drop them in chat. I want to say from moment one, I don't have any ill feelings towards anyone. I am literally just making videos and reporting on news. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just making content. So Justin wanted to mute me. That's totally fine. It's his Discord. He could do whatever he wants. No ill feelings there. But I do want to bring Shaba on, let him tell his side of the story. Guys, if you have any questions, drop them in chat. We will get to them as we can. We will get to all of your questions as we can, but I'm going to let Shaba talk for a second. So let me get him in the call. Let me get him in here. We'll make sure that you guys can hear him properly, and then we'll ask him some questions, and then I'll let you guys jump in and ask a few questions. So let me try to get him in a call right now, and we'll make sure that everything's good.
Hello?
Shaba.
What's up?
All right,
Can
let me
everybody
make
hear me?
sure. Yeah, let me make sure you're good on my end. Let me make sure that chat can hear you. Chat, if you guys can just let me know that you guys can hear him and that his volume's good and everything, so we don't have to turn it up or anything like that. But I think we're good there. Basically, Shaba, in case you weren't watching, I just went through. I let everyone know the video that I made today, and that I kind of sided with Justin and Valor on the way they saw things in this whole instance discussion. But after you reached out, I definitely wanted you to come on here and kind of share your side of how you see things. And then I'll probably ask you a couple questions. We'll let chat ask you a couple questions, and we'll just chat for a bit. That sound good?
Yep, sounds good. So, my name's Shaba. I run a bunch of things between Trickle, Title. I have Hydra servers and some other stuff coming up. And Trickle is basically one of the things that I spend so much time on, and I really do love it. And I make sure that all our customers are happy with the product. And obviously, there's some things going on right now that people are, I guess, on the fence about, or they take sides about, and I want to kind of clear that up and make sure everybody understands kind of where we're coming from and why we're making the decisions that we're making.
Okay. Um, Well, if you don't mind, so the whole thing that really just started, if we can go back a bit, whenever Justin, we kind of had the Twitter space call, and he kind of brought up the whole Save YeezySupply movement. Um, can you just tell us a little bit about how you saw things then and kind of your response to the things that he was saying then?
So I guess since we're gonna start with the instance stuff, there was a point that got brought up by one of the prism guys, and it was basically about instances and how, like, if they're beneficial or not to, I guess, the community and just Yeezy Supply, um, particularly. And the night before the drop, we actually made the decision that we were actually going to cut instances, and Trickle was actually one of the first bots to cut the instances. That's before Valor and Mac and all of them. If you look at the timestamps, you will see that I was the first person to post that in our announcement channel. And then Justin kind of carried off of that and kind of made it more known after they also followed suit. So the whole instance thing was something that we decided that we were gonna do because there was many people within our user base that was buying a lot of instances. There's people buying 10, 20, 30, sometimes up to 50 instances per key, and we didn't think that was very beneficial to the other users in our user base. Um, so that's kind of the reason why we stopped the instances on that front. But we never stated that we were going to stop selling keys or doing anything of that sort. And when you look at Trickle, you see us as a pretty successful bot, but when you're looking at the analytics and stuff like that, you're going to see that the amount of renewals that we like renewal users that we have is very small. And when we sell a bunch of keys, such as monthlies and weeklies, people kind of say like, "Oh, why are they dumping so many keys?" And at the end of the day, we're just getting to a level that is on par with our competitors. And there's two ways we can do that. We can either drop a bunch of monthlies and get to that, or we can drop a month of renewals. But either way, we're gonna get to that user base that's pretty large. Now, when other bots sold all these keys to get to the 2,000 to 3,000 or even 4,000 member range, nobody had a problem with it. But it's only became a problem because we're doing it now. It's kind of like our turn to kind of start growing, but because the Save YeezySupply movement's been going on, people have an issue with it.
Okay. And I think that that's actually one thing that I want to address too. Because in the video that I made today, I don't know if I was clear on this, and I want to be fair to you guys on this. Um, you guys were not this last release that just came on. You guys were not selling a bunch of extra instances. You guys had provided weekly and monthly keys to get your numbers. I think you said this in your Twitter thread too. To get your users to the level that every other bot is at. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, with the instances, there's a lot of FNF and early supporters that were part of our group that we gave extra instances to, and that's very normal. Almost every single bot that you have does this with big influencers and things of that sort. So, we also had that, but we did reduce a lot of the FNF keys. This is not something that we said publicly that we were gonna do, but we still did it anyways. And we didn't sell any to anybody in the public. So whatever people had from before, like their default amount was what they had, and that was the majority of people. They had either two instances if they were a new or a monthly, or they had one instance if they were a weekly. Now there
Okay.
were many people that definitely bought multiple copies either on like their main and on a burner to kind of bypass that instance thing, but that's not something we really have control over. If somebody buys something off a burner, that's kind of up to them, and that can happen to anybody. If somebody wants more instances on, let's say, Valor or on Mac or whatever, they do that too on theirs. So that's not something that we can say, oh, we're gonna stop you from buying extra copies on burners because it's over our two limit or our one instance limit.
Right. And one thing, a point that Justin had made, I think in one of his tweets, which I do agree with, and I think is something that we do kind of have to worry about. I think everyone knows who has been botting for some time now that right now it's nowhere near the environment that we used to be in. Used to obviously botting foot sites was super easy. You could just start your bot, basically start your task, and it was simple. We looked forward to foot site releases. It's not the same way anymore, and I think a lot of people view YeezySupply as the only site left that we can bot effectively anymore. And I think a lot of people, when the instance debate was going on, it's still going on. A lot of people were concerned that the more instances that are offered, that's just going to put more strain on the site, and then eventually things are going to change, and they're going to go not necessarily the way that foot sites have gone to where it's majority raffle, but that the site wasn't going to be the same anymore, and that we weren't going to be able to bot it anymore. When realistically, that's one of the only sites left. So
Yeah.
what's your opinion on that whole situation?
So I mean, there's valid points that come to that, but I think that with the traffic, there's definitely an issue. I definitely agree with that, but we're not the only bot doing that, and the fact that a lot of this hate and beef is coming directly at us is I guess I can agree with some of it, but the fact that it's all coming on us is I think is unfair. There's many bots who are very efficient, like Trickle, that are allowing their users to run at 10,000, 15,000 tests per instance, and not only that, but they're also allowing people to buy extra instances. We made it so that our bot's still efficient. You're still able to run 10 or 15,000 tests per instance, but now you're limited too. We're not allowing people to buy the extra instances. And then before this whole instance war debate even happened, it's not like we changed anything with Trickle, where before it was less efficient, now it's more efficient. Now we're seeing all these bots add the ability to buy instances again, and we're gonna like for the next drop, we're saying we're not gonna do that. But if we end up doing that, then they're just gonna put them back into square one, where people are gonna be able to have, let's say, 10 instances, and at each one they can run 20,000 tasks. So it's kind of onto the it kind of goes to the developer to make their bot more efficient. And on this Twitter space, there was somebody named Hassan. I don't know if a lot of people know him, but he used to be part of Mbot, and he brought up the point where why don't you just let everybody run more instances? You just have to worry about making your bot successful but not efficient. And a lot of developers disagreed with that and said it's up to the developer to make it more efficient. And now that they see how efficient we are, it's kind of like they're reverting back to the instances and agreeing with them.
Yeah, and you kind of brought up something that I don't know that you're going to have a direct answer to, because maybe there isn't a direct answer. But you have said that, you know, when the instance war was really kind of at its peak, Trickle wasn't the only bot who was giving out instances. It seemed like a lot of people viewed it as, well, this bot did it, and then this bot did it, and each bot was just doing it to catch up with the next bot. But even though that a lot of different bots did it, it seemed like all of the blame, I guess you would say, really came back and just fell on Trickle. Um, do you have any idea of why everyone picked Trickle to be the bot to blame?
I mean, I think it comes down to how successful we are. I mean, the last drop we came out with over 15,000 checkouts, which was an incredible amount. And a lot of these bots didn't do too hot. A lot of them flopped. I mean, a bunch of like drop recaps, and all these bots didn't even release how many checkouts they had because for whatever reason, if they flopped or whatever happened. So I think that might be one of the reasons. And another thing is, like, a lot of people said Trickle is bad because they dropped so many monthlies and stuff like that. But all the same bots that are bashing us were the same people who also dropped free weeklies and monthlies as well. I mean, if you're dropping a monthly, then you're dropping a monthly. You can't really bash us for it. I mean, Valor said that they're only going to drop monthlies in Carbon, and Mac dropped a bunch of monthlies in different cook groups, Prism and Tohru and all of them. Everybody dropped weeklies, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we did it. That's kind of like what we do. We drop monthlies, we dropped weeklies, and that's kind of how we made our money. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're not going to bash somebody for doing the same thing that you did.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up, and something that you kind of touched on, about the checkout numbers. A lot of people, and I saw it today, in Valor's chat. I've seen it in a bunch of other chats that I'm in, but it seems like every time that a Yeezy supply release happens, and the bots that do post the checkout numbers, I think a lot of people just immediately call cap on checkout numbers. And I know for a fact, obviously, because a lot of hate was coming you guys' way. It seemed like once you posted the checkout numbers, there was just more hate, than there was in the first place. So I mean,
So
how do you?
as far as the checkout numbers go, we're actually for like the following drops, we're actually going to change it up, and we're actually going to do something similar to what bot does. I was talking to Sneaky. They have a great bot, and I think they're basically on the same level as us, and if not better. But um basically what we're going to end up doing is we're going to do it in a similar fashion where we're not going to be giving out numbers anymore. We're going to do percentages. We're going to say the percentage of users that copped that we're running, and then the average checkout per successful user, stuff like that. We're going to change it so in a way that it represents our user base as a whole versus just like a plain number, and that's it. So we're gonna start seeing a little bit changes in that, and then it kind of gives you a way to compare apples to apples with, let's say, like us and let's say what bot or whatever other bot they end up adopting that. And I hope that other bots follow suit, like some of the top YS bots. I hope they follow suit with the same format, saying instead of saying like a plain number, they say the percentage of their users that copped and stuff like that.
Yeah, that I like that, and just me personally, I like that better. I did hear on the Magnolia botting crew whenever they did their podcast with Felipe. the dev of Prism, that's one thing that he really stressed is he didn't so much care about the number of checkouts, he cared about the percentage of users that were hitting. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, I definitely think that that's a better representation of how successful a bot is. I think you may have mentioned it in that Twitter thread that you had posted. Do you know how many users you have that aren't weekly or monthly users?
That aren't weekly or monthly users. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's under 1,000. Let me
Under
look.
1,000.
Yeah, let me look. It's around 900.
Okay. So, and this kind of goes back to the point that you made, but so whenever you do these weekly and monthly keys, your whole goal is to get to a point, I guess, of where you feel that the playing field is even. Is that the right thing to say?
Yeah, I would agree. And that's kind of why we're taking the measures that we're doing. Like even like we were looking at some of the numbers between like this drop and the slide drop, and we had like our user base was almost double the size because we were able because there was more hype and stuff for foams and stuff. But the amount of instances that people were running was actually a lot less. And I kind of talked about that in the thread where um on the slide drop, we had a smaller user base, but a lot of people bought instances, so our instances count was around like 6,000 or so. But now with a smaller user base, our instance count was like about 1,000 under that. So
Okay.
I think the instance cap really did help with traffic. So even though like we had more users, I think the traffic that we contributed to Easy Supply was actually severely less.
Okay. And this is something that you mentioned, and I think this may be the actual thing that we need to work to. When people have been talking about we need to limit the number of instances that people are running because that's what's hurting everything so much. You mentioned that really it boils down to people just need to make their bots more efficient. And I know you've touched on that Trickle is extremely efficient. Can you maybe just touch on a few things that you guys have done to make Trickle so efficient where you have basically said, hey, you don't need all these instances to be able to be successful?
I think it comes down just to writing clean code. I mean, we have 0x and Z3 who are very great developers, and we're able to optimize and really make the code very clean where we're able to run in those fashions. And um it also comes down to like the language and stuff. Like there's a lot of bots that are coded in certain languages that limit them on how many tasks they can run. So we kind of have that advantage being a Java bot that we can run as many tasks as we were able to. And it more comes down to like Windows OS is kind of limiting us in a fashion too. Like even though we can run way more tasks than the operating system actually allows us to. So there's kind of a cap at some point too.
Okay. And this is something that obviously everyone knows, that maybe you can just touch on a little bit of why you guys chose to go this way. Um, if everyone doesn't know, you should know, but Trickle is a CLI bot, and there have been others in the past, and there are some now that are this way. Instead of having the traditional user interface, can you maybe just touch on a little bit as far as why you guys like that method so much more than maybe the traditional interface?
Uh, I think it's just something that we started with, and a lot of people got comfortable with it, and they were happy with it. So why change something that people like? A lot of the bigger chefs they like it because they can set up quicker than they can with other bots. I mean, at the end of the day, you have a CSV that is very repetitive, so be able to enter data like SKUs and modes and sites and all that is very straightforward and very quick. So like with Trickle, you can set up everything within a few minutes, especially with AYC profile export. You're basically set up within like 2 or 3 minutes. All you have to do is import your proxies, type the number one, and hit enter, and your tests are starting.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think is pretty huge. And just full transparency for everyone, I have not used Trickle very much at all. I think I've maybe used it once or twice, but I think that probably was my favorite thing about it is just how easy it was to set up. because I think a lot of these bots you do spend a ton of time setting up. So that was super quick and easy. So I really enjoyed that. Um, as far as is there anything else that you feel like has come from this quote unquote instance war? Is there anything else that you feel like that has maybe been misinterpreted, or anything else that you maybe want to clear up about it?
Yeah, I think one thing is that obviously people know that we encourage high task counts, and we said it multiple times. We wanted people to run higher tasks because they're not able to run a lot of instances. But just because we try to push that and do that, it's not something that everybody was able to do. We even put out a form asking them, like, hey, how many tasks did you run and stuff like that. And the mass majority of people who ran, they ran between the 1,000 and 5,000 range. Like, even though we gave people the option to do that, a lot of people didn't take that if it was because of money that they couldn't spend on like proxies and stuff, or if they didn't feel comfortable with it, or limitations with, like, let's say their local PC, whatever it is. People didn't end up taking it. So these numbers and stuff that all these bots are talking about, where Trickle is just running it up 10,000, 15,000 tests, I mean, you're able to do that, but the mass majority of our users aren't doing that.
Right. And I think now I'll give you guys in chat if you have any questions that maybe you want to ask Shaba, go ahead and start thinking about them and get them in chat. Shaba, feel free if you see anything that pops up, or if you have seen anything that pops up so far, if there's anything that you want to answer, feel free. I know that we're gonna have a lot of people in chat asking questions, or who want to ask questions. Not that me saying this is going to make any difference, but honestly, guys, just try to keep it to an actual question. I think some people are obviously just gonna hate, which is totally fine. You guys are free to do that, but I think while Shaba is here, take advantage of it. Ask him some questions that maybe are good questions that are relevant. So any questions that pop up in chat, Shaba, that you see, or if you've already seen, feel free to just fire away.
So Nico, you talked about the FNF and unlimited instances and stuff. Like we said, I don't know if you were in here during the start, but we definitely do give FNF and sponsors and early supporters extra instances. It's not a secret. We're not the only bot. There's a lot of bots who do that, and depending on what they're able to accomplish for us, we give them extra instances. I mean, this is not a secret. This is not something that we said publicly that we're gonna stop doing. I know other bots did say that, but we mainly stopped doing the purchases of additional instances. So
Okay. Um, yeah, and that's I think one thing that a lot of people, because I think a lot of this stemmed from the Twitter space that happened, and I think even myself, maybe I was a little confused by it, and I even said it in the video that I posted today, that true, you guys never did come out and say like, "Hey, we're 100% on this wave." And I think that's one thing that Justin made clear. He was like, "Hey, no one has to follow me on this. This is just what I think and what I'm gonna start doing." Which is fine. Obviously, he could do whatever he wants. It's his product and it's his bot. But I think a lot of people maybe wrongly assumed that you guys were 100% on board. And I had a couple people today in my videos commenting saying, it's his bot. He can do what he wants with it, and that's 100% right. So I want to make that point clear, that if I said today in the video that he 100% agreed with that, that was false. I didn't mean to say it that way. So I just wanted to clear that up on my end.
um, I'm trying to look. So as far as the bot surviving without Yeezy, I mean, we have a lot of different sites. We have Walmart and we have Shopify. Shopify is really good. We just don't have a lot of people running it, but we have success coming in daily, and we're looking to add more sites that people want. And as sites come up, or if there's opportunity for us to go after a site, then we'll definitely go after it. I don't think YeezySupply is the end of botting.
I think one person in chat, when we were talking about CLI, they mentioned, is Trickle ever going to get to a point where you guys are offering a GUI option?
That's something that we've considered and we're thinking about. If we end up doing something like that, we'll definitely announce it. But we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and they like what they have, and a lot of people are comfortable already with what they're doing, and they choose. A lot of people choose Trickle because it is a CLI bot. So, we'll see, and if that's what the users want, then that's what we'll do. I mean, we want to listen to what the users want. At the end of the day, we want to make sure everybody's happy and that we're able to do whatever we need to make them happy. So if the GUI is what it takes, then that's what we'll do.
I think I saw Pablo in chat um ask something about limiting tasks. I think you already mentioned that. Maybe if you just want to touch on that again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think limiting tasks is something that we'll do unless every other bot were to do it. At the end of the day, if we were to limit our user base on tasks or something while another bot doesn't, then simply they're gonna leave Trickle and go to another bot. The same thing goes for instances and stuff like that. So this is like a business. We want to make sure that we have a high retention rate. And if we start limiting people for no reason, especially when there's another bot doing it, then it doesn't make sense. Um, because they'll just end up leaving. And we saw a lot of bots do that. I mean, we saw a lot of bots leave certain ones and come to Trickle because they couldn't run as many tasks or because of whatever other reason there is. I mean, there's everybody's different, but if we start limiting people, then they're just gonna leave and go to something that's not limiting them.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe guys, any other questions that you have for Shaba, be sure to drop them in chat. Um, one thing that I'm curious about, just from your perspective, obviously, because you're on maybe a little bit different end than I am, than I'm seeing things. When we talk about Yeezy Supply not being the end all be all per se, over the next, obviously, over the past 6 months or so, we've seen the entire botting landscape change pretty drastically. If we talk maybe next 3 months or something like that, where do you kind of see the landscape of sneaker botting going in the next 3 6 months, something like that?
I mean, things are changing constantly. You really can't say what's gonna end up happening. I mean, there's always gonna be new shoes, new sites that are gonna come and go. There's also bots that come and go as well. So it's really hard to say, but I don't think sneakers are gonna die. I think it's gonna be here forever. But the way we do things is gonna change, and the people who are able to adapt and evolve around these changes are the ones that are gonna stay.
Right. If you see any questions, feel free to respond. One thing, just real fast, from my end, I saw someone say that someone was deleting some of the comments and stuff like that in live chat. Guys, obviously, like if you're being dumb or you're just saying just hurtful stuff that doesn't really have a place in chat, like obviously it's gonna get deleted. If you guys have actual real questions, then feel free to ask them. But if you're just saying dumb stuff, like the mods are gonna time you out and they are gonna ban you from the channel, which no sweat off my back, honestly. I don't if that's the way that you guys are, I don't really want you guys here anyways. So honestly, take this opportunity to ask real legitimate questions. Because it's not every day that you guys probably have someone like Shaba on a call like this to ask any questions. So I just want to get that out there. If you see any other questions that you want to answer, go for it.
So one of the questions was, wasn't the purpose of Instance War to lower traffic to YeezySupply, and how is it being more efficient and running multiple instances like different and stuff like that. So, um, when we were allowing instances, we didn't change the bot to maybe be like less efficient or anything. You can still run 10 or 15 or 20,000 tasks if you still bought instances. So by capping the instances to one or two, depending on what kind of key you have, you're already limiting how much traffic is going to the site. We did nothing with the bot to make it more efficient once we clipped the instances. Everything's been exactly the same. The only difference is now is that you can't buy more to run more tasks and stuff like that. So we are limiting the amount of traffic that's going there by doing that.
Gotcha. Um, is there anything else in there that you see that you wanted to address?
Looking.
Or any other thing that you want to say in general? I know you don't have all night, and I
I
definitely don't
mean,
want to waste any
at
of
the
your time.
yeah, at the end of the day, I think every business should run, however it wants to do, or however it's more efficient for them. But um, constantly throwing hate at different people, because of their success or their business practices is not something that will get you far. We've never started drama or beef. We definitely have responded to it. But I don't think that all the stuff that, especially today, what's happened is something that's going to be beneficial for us. It just brings more toxicity to our community. And I think that the only way that we can grow from this is just everybody does their own thing. Um, the way we run our businesses, how we do it, the way others do it, that's kind of how they do. I mean, we have no negative feelings to other bots based on how they do their stuff, but the fact that we have tweets coming at us and stuff like that because of our business practices is kind of obscure.
Yeah, and I think I mean, as far as receiving hate, I think I can speak to that just a bit. Obviously, I touched on earlier for all of you guys who were in chat. I saw a couple of people mention it off the start of the stream of why I got muted in Valor's chat. Honestly, just to address that real fast, that's not up to me. Honestly, it's probably best to not type in there anyways. I try not to really let it take up too much of my time because, to be quite honest, the people who are saying stuff in there don't really affect me. So that doesn't really matter. But I'm not upset or anything like that that I got muted in chat. I think it was kind of interesting that after I said that I was going to do the interview with Shaba that I did get muted. But it is what it is. I'm not too worried about that, guys. So I don't want any of you guys to try to spread hate or anything like that either. If you've watched my channel before, then you know that that's not what I'm about. So that doesn't really bother me. I don't want anyone to spread any type of hate there. And for those of you saying, I saw someone in chat a second ago say that I was going easy on Shaba. I'm not saying that I agree with him. I think it was pretty clear in the video that I made earlier that I saw things differently than him, which is totally cool. I appreciate him reaching out and wanting to get on and just do an interview, just because I think it's good for everyone to hear all sides of the story. So I appreciate you getting on here and doing that. But just to address that in chat, yeah, I got muted in the chat. That's totally cool. Like I said, it's Justin's bot. He can do whatever he wants. But please, no one from my chat or no one who is one of my subscriber or anything like that, please do not go spread any more hate. That's one thing that Shaba and I definitely agree on, that there is enough of that already in the community. So that's not anything that we need more of. But if you see anything else that you want to answer or address, go for it.
Looking at it, I don't really see any new questions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just commenting now. But that's fine, guys. If you have any other questions, be sure to get them in before Shaba hops off the call. Um, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe just about maybe Trickle as a whole. Anything that you guys having coming in the future, or anything like that?
We're just trying to make sure that the bot is the best that it can be. I mean, there's stuff that we're definitely working on that um I can't really release any information on, but there's definitely stuff that you guys are gonna be happy about and stuff that I think a lot of people have been waiting for and are gonna see. So I'm excited to release that when that's ready. Um
Someone did just touch on it. I think maybe it that may be exactly what you were talking about, and you may not be able to answer it. Someone said, "Is there any future for new modules or anything like that in the future?" I'm not sure if you can answer that or not.
um Not right now. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that we're definitely working on. I think you're gonna like, especially for Shopify and stuff like that. Um, but as far as like the current modules, we just want to make sure that they're accessible as possible, and we're constantly updating them and making sure that they're at their peak so that we can have the success that we have.
Gotcha. And I was not I wasn't I wasn't here for anyone in chat who was following me. I mentioned it to you guys earlier. I wasn't able to run for the release that happened earlier today because I was or yesterday because I was out of town for work. So I wasn't able to do anything. If you guys saw the stream the other night, you saw I was on some hotel Wi-Fi that was not good. So I wasn't able to do anything today, but can you maybe touch on what you guys saw from the release overall for Trickle's performance from yesterday?
I mean, the performance was good. We definitely had a lot of site issues. The site was dying, payment processor was dying. That's something that has been happening for like the last few months. It's not something that's new or anything. We saw a lot of Resi providers die, and I don't think that's really because there was a ton of traffic. I think that more comes down to every single proxy provider using the same one, and it just happened that one provider died, so all these companies died at the same time. A lot of these plans are just resold and marketed differently. But um, I mean, as far as success and everything goes, there was high firewall and stuff like that, which isn't a problem for us, and that's why we're really successful is because we're able to still check out when things like firewall is up and um when the queue when because there's like a moment when it during the drop when people don't get past the splash, and all of a sudden you'll see a huge wave. And with having so many tasks to run and waiting, as soon as they open like the floodgates, essentially, all our tasks basically run through, and you're gonna see a huge wave of checkouts. So those are just some things that happen during the drop. I mean, it's normal. We see it all the time, and it's been happening for like 6 months or so. So
Yeah, and I was playing catch up a little bit on everything that went down because, like I said, I wasn't around, I wasn't able to run for it, so um, yeah, unfortunate. But is there anything else that you see in chat that you wanted to address? Maybe any new questions that came in that you wanted to answer before we wrap this thing up?
yeah, there's actually one that just came up is about AWS throttling their servers. Um, I'm unsure how accurate that information is, but from a logical sense, it does make sense. AWS would limit your like your connections and activity based on if they see a big influx of, let's say, usage and stuff like that. So that is definitely something that's possible. It's not something that we've seen in the past, but I mean, I'm not sure. I can't say it's 100% true, but from a logical sense, it does make sense. So if you want a server, I always recommend just getting one within the sneaker community because we're able to serve people like you better because we know exactly what you're doing. And there's a lot of great servers out there. There's a server that I own. It's called Hydra servers. Live servers are good. 10x. I mean, there's a lot of server providers that are out there that are really good, and you kind of have to shop around and see what works for you.
Yeah, and that's a thing that that I think we could see being a real issue moving forward. Just to throw another one in there, if you guys watch my channel, you know I use Saw servers and live servers, so I use both of those and never have any problems with them there. So yeah, that's just a quick thing on servers. Um, Shab, is there anything else that you wanna add before we let you get out of here?
Nope, I think that's all. I'm also gonna have another interview tomorrow with SoFlo. So if there's any other question maybe that you guys forget about, I'll definitely be in there too at 7. So hopefully we'll see you guys there and kind of maybe recap or do some more questions and stuff.
Are y'all gonna be doing that live on his channel tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yep. So
Perfect.
if there's anything you guys forget about, but um, I'm definitely open right now if you guys have any other questions.
Yeah,
Um,
guys. Give it just a couple more minutes. Anything else that you guys have that you want to ask, get your questions in. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that you were going to SoFlo tomorrow. So SoFlo's a cool guy. So if you guys don't get your question asked tonight, or you think of anything that you wanted to ask, then yeah,
um, as far as checkout to task ratio, I don't have numbers on that, but what I do have numbers on is the amount of checkouts per user. We're looking at 6.737 checkouts per user, and 3.1 almost per key. So those are really the numbers, but for the next drop, we're gonna have more. we're gonna have more data on that based on the percent of users that were successful, um, average amount of checkouts and stuff like that. So there's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot more in depth. I just don't have the numbers right now to be able to share that.
Gotcha. Um, I think a lot of people are asking about Justin in chat right now. I would assume that you don't want to answer anything about that, which is totally cool. I don't think, I mean, I at least hope that people in the community don't genuinely hate each other. I think it's fine to disagree, and
As far as that goes, I think he's really successful, and I think that he has a great bot. I have nothing against him. I actually reached out to him multiple times and tried to work things out with him on past issues, and I really never got a response or anything. I don't know if that's from like an ego perspective or what, but I think he's a really great guy. I have no issues with him, and if he were to DM me right now and figure something out, I would be more than happy to. I mean, I hate drama. I'm definitely when I first started when I first joined this community, there was definitely a lot of drama that I was involved in stuff that I started. But as I've been in this community, I've learned that that's not the best way to go about things. So I hate being part of it still. So I'll never start it. But if something ends up happening, in respect to like the companies I represent and stuff like that, I have to stick up for them. So I'll definitely respond. But I mean, I have nothing against him. He has a great bot. He's very successful, especially at his age, and um there's nothing but love. But if you're gonna come at us, then there's gonna be some problems. But
yeah,
everything
I
can
think
resolve.
you go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think to that too. Obviously, like you guys know that like I use Valor. I still like if you ask me this very second, I think Valor is still my favorite bot. I love using it. And I think it's been a great bot. I've used it for a long time. And back in the day, whenever foot sites were still a thing, it was the greatest bot on foot sites, and I don't think anyone could disagree with that. I think right now, if you want to argue about if it's the best bot on YeezySupply, you can. I think if it's not number one, then it's right there, vying for that number one spot, probably along with Trickle. So I mean, it's a great bot, and I think he has a great product. So I'm right there with that. At least for me, obviously, there's no hate or anything that way. I enjoy using his bot. I think it's a great product. So I hope that eventually you guys can mend whatever fences there are there, because I think it would be great if all the companies would work together. But I know that's not 100% realistic. But I definitely hope that you guys can get it worked out one day.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, is there anything else that you've seen that you want to answer? If not, I'll let you get out of here.
Nope, I think that's all. But if you guys have any other questions, I mean, my DMs are always open. You can DM me on Twitter, tag me, whatever you guys want, and I'll definitely respond to any questions or anything you have, as long as they're obviously serious and stuff.
Yeah. And before we let you go, obviously I just want to say thanks for coming on and doing the interview. I mean, I think it was pretty. I definitely didn't expect for you to want to talk really at all. I mean, I made a video today where I was definitely not on your side. And I'm not saying that my opinion is totally switched. But I think it was really cool of you to come on and do this interview and explain your side of the story. I think I've learned a lot from tonight. Hopefully, everyone in chat has gained a little bit of perspective as well. And honestly, guys, just moving forward, let's just treat this what it is. We're just guys trying to get shoes. It's really not that serious. So please, no hate, man. Like, there's no need for it. Obviously, everyone's just trying to do their thing, make their own product, get shoes. That's literally all we're trying to do. So, Shaba, big thanks for coming on. I appreciate. I know we threw it together really fast, but I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me for a bit, man. Yeah, I just really appreciate it. I think that was super cool of you to come on. You definitely didn't have to.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, man.
At the end of the day, we're all gonna have different opinions, and that's okay. That's part of the game. And if we disagree, that's kind of something that we have to build on. There's no reason to bash somebody because they have a different opinion than you. I think it's something that maybe we can learn from each other and grow and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I came to you with more of like a loving perspective than saying like, "Oh, why'd you put that out?" Kind of, how the other
Yeah,
party did.
I
So
definitely appreciate that. That's not what a lot of people don't feel that way. But anyways, thanks so much, man, for coming on, doing an interview. Anytime you want to sit down, chat about anything else, I think everyone on the channel definitely enjoyed hearing your perspective tonight. So anytime that you want to do anything like this again, man, my DMs are always open. And once again, man, just thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. That wraps up the interview with Shaba. I thank him so much for coming on, man. That was really cool. And like you said, I mean, he definitely didn't have to come on or anything like that. I think it was pretty cool for him to come on, even though I was critical of his opinion earlier in the day. So really cool of him to come on. For all of you guys who were in chat, thanks so much for being here tonight, for hanging out during the interview. I really appreciate it. Everyone who wanted to throw hate or shade, guess what, man? I made the chat subscriber only, so you had to subscribe anyway. So I appreciate that. And all of the hateful comments just drove the engagement up. So thanks so much for that, guys. I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. I will probably have a new video for you guys tomorrow. We post brand new videos every single day at noon. I still have a super big announcement that's coming in the next couple of days. So be prepared for that. It's definitely going to be huge. Very big rebrand coming to the channel. And just like Shaba said, I hope that we can all leave this with maybe just a little bit more understanding and compassion towards one another. If you guys know me, that's what I'm all about here on this channel. I hope that we can spread more of that positivity and love throughout the community, because judging by just even this chat tonight, you guys need a lot of it. So I hope that we can spread that to you. But anyways, that's it for the stream. Not doing anything else tonight. I think this was more than enough. I wanted to do a quick hour. I'm going to go enjoy my time now, because I've been out of town for work for the past few days. So I want to get out of here. I want to go relax a little bit. So yeah, thanks for being here, guys. If you're brand new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you subscribed and you're going to unsubscribe, that's cool too. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for helping out with the engagement and that nice, sweet, sweet ad revenue that I do enjoy so much. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, good night, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another brand new video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on that, and be ready for that big announcement. I will see you guys tomorrow and then the next day. This is Soul State signing out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you tomorrow.